Hello, lovely people. It's me. If you didn't know, obviously you didn't know. But good afternoon. It's Sunday. I'm back on a Sunday, and as you can tell, back in the what used to be the dungeon, but there's stuff going on, as I've alluded to before, and I'm not going to show you, but you can see behind me there's stuff going on. But I thought the room was busy, and I was watching TV, and I thought, you know what, I'm not doing anything, I might as well go and stick my face in the camera and see if anything comes to me. Something has come to me, but if anything else comes to me. So I hope you're all well. I hope you're all having a fine, where are we, in April now? I don't even know the date. 10th day of April. Bloody hell. Yeah, weather's been up and down, as everybody's found, with sun and frost and hail and rain and all sorts. I think some places had snow as well, but you know, it's the climate that we live in. I keep on saying the seasons are changing, because especially with the daffodils are still out now. It's April. They should have been gone by now. It's like February, gone in March. Now they're kind of sprouting in March and they're still knocking about in April. Never going away. But yeah, so I'm kind of outside and inside, because there's no doors. There's one window there, but that's literally open into the road in that direction. Like I say, I'm not going to show you, because you don't deserve to look. If you want to look, come to the house and have a look yourself. If you know where I live. If you don't know where I live, ask me and I might invite you. But yeah, there's a lot of work going on here at the moment. Hopefully this will be a room soon, with actual walls and a door and 2 doors. But yeah, people keep on asking me, and people who have messaged me about this, are you excited? And I always say I'm not excited, because I'm not. It's when you're paying for this shit, it's not fucking exciting. It's fucking expensive. It's going up. I mean, we're definitely over budget now. We haven't paid it all, but I know we're over budget because of the stuff. There's always, you can never think, because you know if you watch Grand Designs, you can never think of everything. Unfortunately, you think you do, you think you have, but something always, and you know, this slight things change. There's been a few changes that we've made as we're going along. So some things change, and but yeah, you can never think of everything, and this is. I can understand why people don't like doing this shit. It's fucking nightmare. Nightmares and dreams. That's something I've thought about. Just 1 second. Have a look at the insulation. That's fine. It's okay. Thought somebody was asking for me. Yes. Yeah. You can never. There's always something. It's always something. And it's never anything less. It's always something more, and there's always add-ons, and then add-ons equal more money, and it's never ending. But yes, I am looking forward to it being finished. Not looking. Ask me about excitement when it's finished and when we've got it all done, because there's stuff that will need to be done after it's finished. So when all this is boarded and floors in, and you know, because I have to get the floor. I haven't got the floor yet. We have decided on the floor. I've got the floor, got the tiles over there that need to go in, and I've got this. Yesterday we were working out how to get the TV in the back bit there, of where we're going to put it, and so many things. But anyway, that's not what I'm here to moan about. I'm not moaning about anything. I don't like moaning. Moaning is negative. I'll try to be positive. I'm always trying to be positive. I did go on a walk this morning. I've been up since 4. I did go on a walk this morning. I didn't get up 4 to go on a walk. I got up at 4 to watch UFC. And then after I'd done little bits, I thought, you know what? I'm not doing anything. The weather seemed reasonable. I'm going to go for a wander. I ended up doing like 8.5 miles. But you're kind of thinking on the way. So one of the things I was thinking about, and you'll know who I had this conversation with, the person I had this conversation with, is we're talking about romantic movies. I'm not a big fan of romantic movies. just because. Well, I thought about it more as I was going along. It's because I don't believe in happy endings. Not like that, you dirty people. If you don't know what a happy ending is, look it up. I'm sure Urban Dictionary will point you in the right direction. No, happy endings in films and TV programs. It's if you hear cars, like I say, it's all open up there, so that's what you'll hear. We're by a road. Our road's not busy, but yeah. So because when I was thinking, you kind of think deeper, a little bit deeper into it, and I was thinking, wow, what is the happy ending thing? Is okay, happy ending just brings that wrong image into my mind now, and hopefully yours as well. Be on my wavelength. Don't be on somebody else's. It's more fun. It's just that they're so in a film it finishes, and they lived happily ever after. Let's say that they lived happily ever after, but then you never know what happened afterwards, unless it was a sequel and something happened afterwards. But then there's always a happily ever after at the end of the sequel. There's always there's always a happily ever after, and I kept on saying I prefer tragedy in my films. I prefer like sort of something a bit more, final. And I suppose the big most final thing is death, isn't it? Really. So not that I prefer death in my films, but like I say, I don't know. Then it becomes, I suppose, more relatable in terms of there's a finality to it. But then thinking about it as well, but then life, unless you're at your final, at your end, I'm hoping this makes sense. It makes sense in my head, which is always a bad sign. A finality in life is death, because that's it. You're done. What happens afterwards is open to debate. If there is anything that happens afterwards, and that's fine. Whatever you believe is whatever you believe. That's good, and I'm getting on to that belief. But yeah, so that's the finality in life. If this is life, if this is a simulation, as far as we're aware, this is where we are. Looking, simulation theory is really interesting as well. I've been reading more about that. But anyway, that's another thing entirely, because I don't understand it properly myself. But I understand it, but I don't understand it. But if you look into it, you probably won't understand it and understand it as well. But that's besides the point. But yeah, so whereas a film or a TV program gives you more finality. Finality is a word, but you know what I mean. If it isn't a word, you know what I mean. But yeah, so it gives you more of an ending. Okay, and full stop. End of story. Whereas your life carries on. So it's hard then, if you think about it like that, to relate that and that. Your happily ever after isn't really a finish, is it? Unless you finish it in your head. But then, if you live life, it doesn't finish like that. Not like that. No. People, obviously, some people are genuinely, they get their happily ever after, regardless of how it is. That when they get their happiness, their contentment, that lives with them for the rest of their life. That's fine. And we know people like that. As far as we're aware, you don't know what goes on in somebody else's life, but as far as you're aware, only they could tell you if yay or nay. But yeah, that was it. So like you see, it's a little thing like that can go deeper and deeper and deeper. You think more about it, and that's why it's worth thinking. I used to say thinking causes heart attacks. That's what I used to say, because it leads to this, and eventually it leads to this, and leads to stress, high blood pressure, and you get a heart attack. But thinking is a useful tool. If you think deeply, that's not deep either. If you just think, even a little bit into what that means, and that's what that. So having that conversation was like, I don't like it, and then I was like, but why don't I like it? And it's like, okay, and that's the whole thing about if you're not feeling right about something, if you're not feeling right about a situation, or if you're not feeling right about something that's situation is something that's happened. If you're not feeling right about a feeling that you're having, it's worth exploring that feeling. Did I say worth? Then that's flipping ridiculous. It's worth exploring that feeling and asking it questions. somebody taught me that. Actually, it was my counsellor that taught me that. Can't believe that was in 2020 as well. But yeah, it's worth exploring that feeling, to ask, just asking it questions, asking that feeling questions, so why, and then you kind of figure your way through into giving you a little bit more understanding into that, why you think like that, which is a nice tool to have. It's interesting. It's an interesting tool. It's an interesting skill to learn. I'm still learning. Yeah, I think you should never stop learning and things like that. But yeah, definitely. So that was literally today. That was this morning. I was going through that in my head, and it'll probably get deeper and more thought into it. And that's the thing. It's never straight away. It's like but I never thought of it like that. And then somebody gives you a differing opinions. Why do you like that, or why do you like those things? And then is that, I don't know. And maybe I need to think about that a bit more. Because at the end of the day, like films and TV programs, unless they're documentaries, obviously, they're not real. I'm talking documentaries. What's that Jimmy Savile one? Fucking hell. Well, I'll get back to that. But yeah, so those are based in realism, and you see an ending to them, unless something's still going on. But like say with that Jimmy Savile one, you saw an ending to it in terms of what happened to him, how he was vilified afterwards. Obviously, he never got punished for it because he died, but everybody's aware of who he was and what he was. But so that gives you, I suppose, that gives you more of an ending, whereas a film is always open. So I was asked the question: so why do you like sort of sci-fi or action films? And the person who, they listen to this, so they'll know who I'm talking about. And I suppose it is because I hadn't really got an answer, because I have to think about it now. But just thinking about it now and talking about it, it would be that it gives you, an action film has a beginning, middle, and end. So it's like a villain. There's a villain, and you have to defeat the villain, and then that's the ending. I suppose that the villain has been defeated, and that's all. Whereas with a like say for instance romantic comedies or romantic films, they lived happily ever after, or did they? You never know, because everybody's been in relationships and all sorts of different, and it's like, yeah, we were happily ever after at the beginning, and then later on it wasn't very happily, because you kind of get these things happen. But it's an interesting, I suppose it's an interesting thought experiment, isn't it? I love a thought experiment. So yeah, there you go. Rambled on 12 minutes about nothing as usual, but this framing is interesting. It hasn't zoomed in on my face yet. I know I've been looking over there. I don't know. Sometimes I can't look at myself for some reason. Yeah, and if I'm a little bit delirious, I have been up since 4 o'clock this morning, and I haven't been to sleep, and I've walked 8.5 miles, as I mentioned. So apologies if I'm a bit zoned out, but I just felt like doing this. So, and testing this this non-room as it is at the moment. It's a room, but not quite a room, and I won't be able to use this, but in future I might be able to, I suppose. But yeah, whatever. Anyway, so not long ago, I was asked where if I was, what my belief in terms of belief. Like obviously I'm sort of born and raised in the Sikh culture and Sikh religion. But I was asked, so where are you in terms of belief now? And I said I would class myself in a spiritual vacuum, which they quite liked that term, because I have thoughts about belief, my belief, not anybody else's. It's what I think, and this has got from listening and reading about stuff and this and that, because at the end of the day, I'm really interested in religion. I'm still really interested in Sikh religion. I'm still really interested in Sikh culture, and everything that's brought. But I'm also interested in. I've always been interested in other religions as well. It's just interesting to understand people's thought processes and how they operate in the world in terms of religion, and it's just because it gives you a moral compass, doesn't it? I think it gives you a moral compass of good, and it gives you a sense of good and bad. And I'm not saying anybody who doesn't believe in any religion or any god doesn't have that moral compass. I mean, generally you learn right and wrong as you grow up, but you know it kind of, I suppose it stabilizes. Not stabilizes is the right word. Cements it for you, but it gives you something to fall back on. And like I say, this is not a knock on anything. This is just me thinking about it. And it's like, but in terms of a belief in, so let's go like this. If there is a God, I don't think it's a God that really cares. And how did you come up with that synopsis? I don't know. This is just stuff. But so we know the universe is. I was thinking about this yesterday, actually, while I was driving. So we know the universe is. I mean, scientifically, it's vast. Vast is probably just a small portion of it, but it's just huge. You know, it's. Some people would say it's immeasurable, but you know, so the astronomers have said they've measured it, but it's like it's unfathomable for us to think about how big it is. If you think about how big certain planets are, or how big the sun is, and then you think, oh shit, and that's just a star in the universe. So the universe is just you can't compute it in your own head of how big it is. You can say a number, but it's just ridiculous. So on the basis of that, there's a bee. Oh, don't be stupid. If you fly up, there's so many holes in this bloody room, and that bee is banging, is getting a concussion from that window. Stupid bee. Do I have to rescue it? I rescued a bee the other day. For fuck's sake. One second, I'll be back. Keep that thought, because I'm not sure what I remember, what I said. Go on, bee. Out you go. Sorry for, you can see my boob. I'll leave the window up. Oh, look at that. It's messed up my camera. I messed up my camera. It's the bee that messed up my camera. He knocked me. But yeah, so okay, so yeah, we know the universe is so huge. Why would a God? No, actually, just God. Let's just say God, because at the end of the day, everyone believes if there's a supreme being, it's not going to be a specific supreme being for each religion. It's one, isn't it? It's just people have got different names for this supreme being. So, and as far as I'm aware, most religions believe that supreme being to be everything and anything. So that one thing is, why would that supreme as everything and anything within the universe, and beyond the universe, because it's anything and everything, would they care about the tiniest little pebble? It's not even a pebble. It's, if you think of it in the context of the universe, it's like an atom, probably. Why would? And then, if the Earth is an atom within the universe, you know, what are we on that atom? Barely anything. We're barely registering. So why? What would a supreme being need to care about that? And then, it's just thinking of it. I'm just thinking of it in that wider context, isn't it? Of what I don't understand the thought. And then, why is this the only place that? So okay, let's just rewind that back a bit. Regardless of what religion you are, Christian, Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist, Muslim, whatever. I've just named like four major religions, or five major. whatever, but whichever religion you are, everybody believes in their own. So Christians will believe in God and Jesus. Christians would believe in Jesus, obviously, because they're Christian, Christ. But you know what I mean. So any aspect of Christianity, because Christianity is an umbrella now, isn't it, where everything falls in underneath it. So they'll believe in God, and then certain aspects of believe in Jesus within that umbrella, believe in Jesus as the Son of God. Everybody knows that. I don't need to teach you that. And then Hindus believe in, well, there's so many branches of Hinduism, but they believe in a specific, either an amount of gods, or there's one god, or, but you know, they've got their own belief systems within that. And then Sikhs believe in like one god. It's monotheistic, which Sikhs would refer to as Vaheguru. And then Buddhists believe in the Buddha, and then who helped them reach to enlightenment. And then Islam, they believe in Allah, so, which is just another word for God. So they believe in God, but that's their specific. So just naming those ones I named, they believe. So if God is all, everything and anything and everything, which is what generally the religions believe, is it only this planet that they would populate with those religions? Why wouldn't they populate any of the other ones? Why would they populate something the size of an atom within the context of the universe with all of these religions, and not? And so does that mean? Because there was I'll have to look up who it was, because I didn't read or listen to somebody about it. They were talking about him, and he was a philosopher, and he was killed because he said or suggested the idea if there's multiple, obviously we believe in life on other planets, does that mean there's multiple Jesuses on other planets? And they took that as blasphemy, and I think they killed him. But it makes sense as well, doesn't it? It's like, why would you just populate one planet? What's so special about these people here? What about the other beings on other planets? Do they have their own religions? And then if, say for instance, Jesus was the Son of God, why isn't the Son of God knocking about over them places as well? You know what I mean? So it just gives you a thought, and then you other things as well. You think of, well, religions are man-made, and they are literally man-made, because who was the dominant species or dominant sex throughout? I mean, even to now, it's men. And who wrote nearly all the religious text was men. And I know some religions empowered women in specific ways, but in terms of the writings of religious texts, or writings of, you know, or you know, when they talk about religious figures, it's very little in terms of women. It's the contribution, unfortunately, of women has been very, very marginal, and that's because men were dominant, and they did it all, and that's not, you know what I'm saying? It's like, well, but then if everybody's equal, then why is under God? Why is it just men that were dominant and not the, you know what? There's something, and there's they just going under suffering. That's a completely different ball game, isn't it? It's like, why is there so much suffering if this is meant to be and then you because. You know, there's so many things you could talk about in that way, and you know, it's up to you to think about it. I'm just throwing out my thoughts. This is what I've thought about, and but what's interesting is the mental gymnastics that people. So if you suggested this to religious people who are very religious, and like I say again, I'm not knocking anybody who's very religious. If that's what you are, that's what you are. But the mental gymnastics that some people do to justify what they think God thinks is ridiculous, and it just makes me laugh when they say, "Oh no, but well, you don't understand it." Okay, what if if God so God can see everything according to religious. This is according to religion. If God can see everything, and He's the beginning, middle, and end of everything. So you know, this is what talks about fate and all that business before. If everything's written. If God can see everything, then why is this why wouldn't God give that message, say, to clear everything up, basically, to make it less down to interpretation? Yeah. So yeah, why would God leave everything? Yeah, it's up to no, it's interpretation, isn't it? I think Louis C.K. had a little bit in one of his. I think it's the one he just won a Grammy recently. But he won the Grammy for Sorry. If you get a chance, and it's hard to watch it because he's put it on his own website. But if you hit me up, I've got it still, and I bought it because I'm a big fan. And you know what? I like what I like, and I got what I got. But I'm sure he did a bit in that about God could clear all this shit up with a 5-minute press conference. He could just come down, give a 5-minute press conference, and say, "This is what it is," and that's it. But yeah, why would everything be sort of, oh, it was then, but then since then he hasn't really even bothered. He's been busy, couldn't be bothered. He doesn't want to talk to you. But you know what I mean? It's just like, it's hence the reason I'm in a spiritual vacuum. I'm more teaching. Honestly, I know I was afraid to talk about this. Not afraid. I was reluctant, let's say, to talk about this before, about my belief. But then people have asked me about it, and like I say, I still respect everything, and I respect all the culture, and I respect all the traditions, and I respect anybody's belief system, and what they believe in. But you know what? My belief is more of the, let's say, 80-20, maybe 90-10. In the non rather than the. It's just because of, it's what I've thought about, and yeah, I struggle. There's too many things that don't make sense to me, and until it makes sense, I'm not married to the opinion of that. I mean, I'll be happy to change. It's just that at the moment that's where I am. And then, if I think about it and see something different, and then I might change my opinion that way. I'm not saying this isn't a fixed opinion. This is what, because people who know me have seen how I've never been super religious, but but still I understand the belief. I understand belief, and I understand what it's all about, and I understand, and like I say, I fully respect it, and I fully respect anybody who follows it. I mean, my mom's very religious. Loads of people in my family are really, really religious. Loads of people I know, non-Sikhs, are really religious. You know what I'm saying? I respect what they want to do, and I will follow everything that they want me to do in terms of religious ceremony at the temples and stuff like that. I'm all good with that. I ain't got no problem with that. I'm not going to not go or not invest in it in that way. And like I say, it's a good moral. And there's lots of. I love history. And Sikh, as I was brought up in it, so I'm more into that. I love the Sikh history. It's amazing. Really, if you read it, really colourful, really tragic. There's so many things that happened, and certain things that I've read still get me emotional about what had happened to this and what would happen in this situation, what happened in this situation. Because Sikhism is a very young religion. There's more documents. It's more documented. Not more documented than any other religion, but I'm just saying it's more documented. So there's more historical fact and historical truth to certain things that happened within the religion. So it's so I love reading about that, and it does gives you inspiration and really interesting things that happened. And like I say, it's less in that way. It's less mythological because it's got different accounts from non-Sikhs as well, like soldiers that fought in some of the wars were non-Sikhs who went there. So it was just that way. But like I say, I'll read about all sorts of religions, and if whenever I fancy it, oh, that's interesting. Like that book I read about Jesus, The Last Zealot by Reza Aslan. That was really just interesting. It was an interesting story because it wasn't about Jesus as it was Jesus as a historical figure, so it was more of a fact-based journey of who Jesus was and where he came from, and the familial structure and all that business, and that was just really interesting to me. So I've talked about it. I've talked about it with people before. I might have talked about it on this before, but you know, but yeah. In terms of my belief system, this is going back to what I was talking about. In terms of belief, that's where I am at the moment. So yeah, I would go 90-10 maybe. It might be even less than that. I'm not on 99%. I'm not there yet, but it's going down, not going up. But you know, the more I think about it, but then it could go up. I'm never in that you know, with that possibility of. But you know, it's just there's too many things, and there's too many things. And I don't want to speak bad about any other religion, but like I say, for instance, with the Roman Catholic, the scandals that go on within the Roman Catholic Church in terms of paedophilia, it's awful. And you know what, that happens in all religions as well, because I've heard it in many religions. But obviously, it's with the way it's transpired within the with the Roman Catholic Church in terms of people being protected, people being moved, priests being moved to sort of away from those areas, not taken away completely out of the church. No, we'll just move them somewhere else where people don't know who he is, and it's like it makes it worse. Like going back to that bloody Jimmy Savile shit, isn't it? But yes, so religion. That was a big one that I wanted to talk about, and I've got many more thoughts about it. I'll not bore you with them, but this is like I say, it's about me. This is not about you. it's if you get anything from it, then it's about you, definitely. And I like the fact that people hit me up on message or Facebook or whatever, just to say that they and like I say, I want feedback. I love the feedback because it helps me. It helps me think more. Like I say, this has never been about how many people watch it or who watches it or or anything like that. This was literally just an outlet for me. I did message somebody the other day who's going through a tough time, and this was literally an outlet for me. I mean, the thing I was going to do with that, I think I was doing with Ant, and I'm going to do with Ant further on down the line. It's coming soon. Shit film reviews. We'll think of a better name, but that was me and him having a drunken idea, which I've talked about way back in the past. Of let's do this, but then we never really. I think we fell down on was that we never really specified what we wanted to talk about. I think that's important because I suppose when it's different for different people, but I think we need to sort of touch on a subject and go with that rather than or a theme and then go with that rather than just talking about what's happening in the news. There's cleverer people and better people in the world that can talk. There's somebody's alarm going off. I didn't want to address it. I thought it would go off, but somebody's alarm was going off on the road, which obviously was going to happen while I was doing this. We've not had an alarm on the road for God knows how long. I can't even remember. But yeah, it was going to happen today while I was doing this. But yeah, so shit film reviews will be I think probably our re-debut of when me and him are back together. I'll probably carry on doing these, but this was literally just for me to as an outlet. And then if anything resonates with, and people like I say have told me that certain things, some things you said was really interesting. What you thought about that, if that resonates with you, that's cool. I'm good with that. But then if you're not sure about anything, I mean, sure you're much more intelligent than me. If you're not yeah, I don't know if you're not. That wasn't really the start of the sentence. If you think about any kind of feedback, anything you want to say to me, positive or negative, just hit me up. And like I say, I can either talk about it on here or address it in terms of what I'm talking about. Because I can talk shit for fucking hours. If you know me, you know me. And I can do that. I'm really good at that. It's Pepsi Max. Cheers. In my I don't even know what that is. Aspel. I don't know where that glass came from. I've stolen it from a pub clearly, but I think it was in the car. But yeah, it's religion. It's very it's an emotive subject for a lot of people, and it used to be for me as well. But I've never talked this to put this clear. I've never actually talked this with anybody before, and so clearly it was playing on my mind. Because then I thought, you know what, I want to talk about it. But then I don't think I've wanted to talk about it before. But then for whatever reason, I didn't want to talk about it on here. But then when I was asked that question, I was like, actually, you know what? Let's have a talk about it. Let's see what happens. But sometimes you need to get that shit out. And this is the whole thing. Like I say, somebody messaged somebody the other day. They were going through a really tough time, and because sometimes just that little message, just that little nudge, it just helps somebody. And they had been going through. Obviously, I'm not going to go through the details of it because that's their personal. But they have been going through a tough time for over a year now. Because of a personal family tragedy, and they put something up, and I think it was the year anniversary. And so, you know what, I was just sitting there. I just dropped them a message, just to say, thinking about it. It's an awful what happened. Thinking about them, and if they ever want to catch up, just give me a shout. Because I haven't spoken to them for ages. Just give me a shout. Always available. As best you can be. And then I said about this. I said I do this. It's a helpful outlet of just getting things off you. And that person said that they do some writing and stuff, which is good. Like I say, that writing is so important. It's so helpful, important as well. But it's helpful. It's just helpful to get things out. Sometimes it's just like I say, when I talk on this, it helps me get things out, and I get things out, and I think And like I say, this doesn't need to be put on YouTube for you to do something like this. You can just record it on your own phone and listen to it back. I listen to these back sometimes, and I think sometimes they do make me laugh. I do. You know what? Is it sort of? I think I've got early onset dementia. I think I'm forgetting words, but yeah, I don't know. I like listening to me sometimes. I hated my voice for some reason. Not for some reason. People do. People, when you hear yourself speaking. But it depends what you're talking about, because I listen to these back sometimes. Sometimes I listen to them back because I need a title. So I'll pick up something out the thing, unless it comes to me while I'm saying, and nothing's come to me now, so I might have to listen to this back. And I think I've got one in my mind. But, oh God. That's what it'll be. Oh God. That's what it'll be, yeah. But yeah, it's a nice outlet to get this, just get it out here. And like what I was saying, that's what I was saying. Either writing, which I've said before, writing a letter to a person, writing a letter to an emotion, writing a letter to whoever you want to write to, that fly that's buzzing around. Where the fuck has that come from? I don't know. Stupid fly. There's a window there. It's open. I've left it open. Your bee friend went. Now you can go as well. They like you. You're making me jumpy. But yeah, writing a letter, putting those things down for you. It's not this. I'm doing this obviously just to put it up. I'll put it up. But anything that you do is for you. Unless you want to share it, that's entirely up to you as well. But you have control of it. So if you want to write something and then destroy it, that's one of the things that they recommend you do. You write it all down, read it back, think about it, get rid of it, because it's just for you to digest. And then, like I say, I suppose that's the same with the recording as well. You can record something, listen to it back, and to be fair, like I say, it's a personal thing. So you talk to yourself. So you listen to it back and you answer those questions. If you ask yourself questions, if you on reflection of listening to it back, you answer those questions back, and like as you're having that conversation with yourself, aren't you? So that's it's cathartic, not lethargic, cathartic. Yeah, I see it as a good thing. I see this as a good thing for me, and hopefully it's a good thing for you. And my beard isn't looking that bad, actually. I've changed it slightly. So if you look back, I've lifted it up a little bit here, there, I know it needs a bit of a tidy up there, but yeah, I'm experimenting with styles. I might sort of fade it and have it a little bit longer down here. What do you think? Give me a shout. Tell me what you think. And then training's going really well, by the way. I haven't lost much weight, but that's beside. You know what? That's by the by. I feel better. I feel stronger. I was just when I was looking in the mirror at myself before, and I was saying, I just feel more solid. Yeah, but it's all good fun. It's nice being back at the gym. You know what? I didn't think I'd miss the gym as much as I did, but I do actually like being back at the gym. But I'm not being stupid at the gym. It's very measured. Everything that I'm doing is to a plan, and I like it. I enjoy it. I enjoy the parts of, some exercises you don't enjoy, but I enjoy parts of the workout more than others. But I enjoy the feeling afterwards, thinking that achievement is always good. But anyway, 40 minutes of me outside with the alarm buzzing. But yes, that's what it is. Matches on in a bit. What time are we at? It's a big match today. Half an hour. Liverpool Man City. Could be, I wouldn't call it a title decider because there's a few games left yet, but it's going to be a biggie. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you now. So, I hope you've enjoyed my ramblings. I hope hopefully you learned something or not learned something. You've learned something about me. But it goes off now. Like I'm about to finish and it fucking goes off now. But yeah, so yeah, if you haven't learned anything, you've learned something about me, which is it's always a good thing, isn't it? But yeah, so I'll catch you next week, and I might catch you in a few days. Actually, if I do this one of these in a week, depending on where I'm thinking about what I'm talking about. I've got a couple of things in the pipeline that this was in the pipeline for a while, so I thought I'd do it today. Sunday, God's day. But yes, but yeah. So catch you soon, and love you, especially you. Look at the camera.